guys, with another update video. We're going to be talking about the severe weather threat that's going to be happening right around the eastern plains as well as a little bit of the Ozarks. We're also going to be talking about in this video about the tropics that are heating up, as we do have a now categorized major hurricane ripping through the middle of the Atlantic with future potentially developing tropical storms. I originally wasn't even going to make a video at all. I wasn't even planning on it, but I heard right around the last second, they actually placed an enhanced risk, specifically for areas in northwestern Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. And we do also have a slight risk surrounding that. That includes the eastern portions of Oklahoma, a little bit of northeastern Texas, most of Arkansas, and a little bit of southern Missouri is going to be in that. We do have a much larger marginal risk that does surround that, going from, western Texas through the Mississippi Valley all the way over to Tennessee and Kentucky. And then we do have a marginal risk up here, kind of in the northeast, Mid-Atlantic corridor, between Virginia and Philadelphia, New Jersey, Maryland, would be in that. Biggest risk is actually going to be the tornado risk, which is very unusual to happen, but it can happen. We do have a 10% hatch risk of a tornado chance, again, right in that northwestern Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma type thing. We do have a 5% chance that will include the Tulsa areas, even some suburbs of Tulsa that could be south or east of it. Little Rock will be impacted by this. The more northwest you are to Little Rock, the better your chances are that you probably would see, that tornado risk. But that 5% really, again, is going to be for eastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas. And then we do have a 2% that extends from the mid-Mississippi Valley all the way up to Kansas, down near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then we have a wind threat, which we do have a 15% chance of. That covers most of Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas. And then we even do have a 5% chance over here in our, what I call kind of like the northeast mid-Atlantic corridor kind of type situation, DC, whatever you want to call it. And then we also do have one that extends from Lubbock, Texas through Shreveport, Louisiana, up to Kentucky and Tennessee. And then we have a hail risk, which only will affect the slight risk areas, as well as the marginal risk areas that is over here and not the northeastern corridor. In day 2, we do have a marginal risk. It's actually a pretty big one, extending anywhere from southern Texas through the Mississippi Valley, through the Ohio River Valley, places all the way up to Pittsburgh, basically. So this is going to cover quite a bit of people. We can even see that it will affect 45 million people in this. So about an eighth of the country is actually in this marginal risk. So we do need to be weather aware of that. The biggest risk, obviously, is going to be the wind risk. If there's a big risk, it's obviously going to be the wind risk. And actually, the wind risk is going to be our only risk for this. Day 3, we do have ourselves another marginal risk. This time, anywhere places from Massachusetts, down the East Coast, down to New Orleans, down to, the states, like Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia would be in that, all the way kind of up to the northeast corridor. Future radar, I'll go ahead and play this, and we're going to zoom in again, and we want to focus on really areas anywhere in here. As you can see, as we move into 5 o'clock, you can see that those storms are going to be packed with hail in them and some damaging winds. But you got to remember, a lot of these are going to be isolated supercells, which is why we have that 10% chance hatch risk for that tornado chance. As we move through 8, 6 p.m. Central Time. I got to remember about my time zones. Lots of very small scattered storms are going to be through. Any of these could be producing tornadoes or large hail or even damaging winds with these. And then as we kind of move through midnight, it'll still continue to rock through Oklahoma in Arkansas. Once we get just a little bit past midnight, still these storms are still going to be here. So nocturnal tornadoes are going to be a thing that could potentially happen throughout Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and even up into Missouri as well. And with these storms, excessive rainfall is going to be a problem too, as we do have a very big 15% chance anywhere from the plains down to Dallas Fort Worth, through the mid Mississippi Valley, all the way up to the Ohio River Valley, where we are going to have that 15% chance of flooding. And that'll come a lot, with, especially with these storms. Day 2, we also have a slight risk, this time mainly for the Ohio River Valley, extending up towards Pittsburgh, extending anywhere for Kentucky, Tennessee, throughout southern Ohio, into West Virginia, and into a little bit of southwestern Pennsylvania. And then day 3, we do have a slight risk as well, where over here in Arizona and New Mexico, we have a very small 15% chance that most likely will affect mostly rural places. Now, throughout the next 3 days of precipitation, a lot of areas in the East Coast are going to be hit and miss with this. Some areas, especially here in the Ohio River Valley and maybe Tennessee Valley, some areas could get up to 3 to even, could get up from 2 to even 3 inches as well. Over here, where our severe weather threat is, some areas could get up to 1 to 2 inches possible. The northeast quarter again could get up to as well as another 1 to 2 inches as well as possible. And then most other areas are that I circled in this could get up to, at least an inch of rain as well. But we can notice that a lot of the northern plains as well as the Pacific Northwest won't be seeing any rainfall at all, which is definitely going to be causing some drought possible. Current drought right now is looking somewhat okay for the most part. Still in the East Coast, though, where we've been having quite a bit of drought, is still there. Especially places around the Ohio Valley, the mid Mississippi Valley, even along the East Coast, too, in metropolitan areas. It's been very dry lately. Um, Especially, however, in Midwest and Northern Plains. That drought is definitely going away. Same thing with the plains. However, some areas could be in the abnormally dry to moderate drought. Still in the Pacific Northwest, so that's where we have our dry stuff, where some areas are even up to an exceptional drought, especially around the panhandle of Idaho, where we haven't seen rain in quite a while. Go ahead and talk about the tropics. It's definitely a big thing. So currently we have Hurricane Gabrielle. Currently is a Category 4 spinning throughout the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It is expected to now actually hit Europe. Not necessarily going to cause damage in Europe, but stuff like gusty winds, and a lot of moisture that could produce rain and some flooding possibly can happen, especially throughout Spain, Portugal, and France, where this storm is going to be moving into, at least for now. And then we also have 2 different areas that are, stirring up. We have so far a 90% chance forming within the next week, potentially tropical storm forming in the Atlantic here. We have a much closer system also forming that is a 60% chance forming, in fact, right off the coast of Florida. We don't know exactly where these things are going, though, but this one, which has a spaghetti model, showing it most likely is going to be staying off the coast of the U.S. And then over here, this one, AL94, could potentially be expected to maybe, get very close to the coast of the Carolinas. Honestly, I am not to believe, but starting today on this channel, we're now going to be talking about winter weather finally. Since it is technically the second day of fall as I'm making this, so right now across the mountains of Colorado, some areas actually received some snow yesterday across these mountains, so some areas are in the winter weather area to minor zone. So if you are a skier, that is going to be very good for you. Especially if you were, wanting and possibly waiting to do that. Finally, if you are looking forward to it, we do have some snow here. that's gonna be it for the end of my weather update video. I didn't cover the precipitation forecast or the temperature outcast for the next 2 weeks. I did make a video on that 2 days ago, so feel free to watch that. There weren't much changes into it. So remember, if you live in eastern Oklahoma or in Arkansas or anywhere across from here, make sure you guys are updated about that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.